There's been a general feeling amongst the Minecraft community in recent years that the updates coming out just haven't been all that hype-worthy. More recent updates haven't necessarily been bad, simply just not as exciting as others. The features added don't ruin the game, really. Things like hanging signs, chiseled bookshelves, or archaeology are great features, but they're just not something most players can find easy to get hyped for because they have a minimal impact on the overall game's experience. The more well-received features of an update are things that are more impactful or in your face. For example, armor trims were one of the best features of 1.20. Though serving no functional purpose, they allow for customizability of your armor and add some individuality to the player. This feature is impactful because it adds new loot to most structures of the game, and more importantly, the player can change aspects of items fundamental to their everyday play. This change is very visible because you're pretty much always wearing armor, and if you don't play with friends or don't go in third person too often, you'll at least see it in your inventory menu. This feature is impactful to the player's experience because of its visibility. Compare armor trims to a feature such as the trail ruins. I'm willing to bet that a large percent of players don't even know that these exist, despite being one of the main features of the 1.20 update from last year. This structure is basically an archaeology dig site. It's very rare, it generates mostly underground, and even if the player does find it, the loot they are more likely to be met with is pretty much, well, trash. Stained glass, dye, and candles. These structures are pretty big, so it does give you a lot of chances to get the better loot, but the better loot is just some armor trims and pottery shards, or the relic music disc. But I always feel that music discs aren't exactly great loot when you can literally listen to any Minecraft song on Spotify or YouTube. And how long is the player willing to dig through the trash of this structure before finding the so-called treasure? I have a feeling most will be turned away quickly, unless you like gambling. Or maybe you experienced a bug on Bedrock that existed for far too long, where the exposed part of the structure was actually disconnected from the rest of it by about 10 to 20 blocks. I won't hold this too much against Mojang because it was a bug, but how on earth did this even pass through launch? Did they even test this main feature of their update? Anyway, an unsuspecting player is likely to just assume that all the structure offers is random trash and go move on with their exploration instead of digging away stacks of gravel. Overall, this feature is not massively impactful to the player's experience of the game. It is easily avoidable and very optional. It is not necessarily bad in terms of being a feature because a player who doesn't want to do this activity doesn't have to, but it doesn't make for a game-changing update for many players. I feel as though these same reasons can be applied to two other similar structures in Minecraft in recent updates, though perhaps not to the same extent. The Ancient City and the Trial Chambers. These are optional experiences for the player, but they provide more of a challenge and therefore better rewards. Many players may not visit these structures for a variety of reasons. The player may feel that the loot these structures reward for the challenges they offer are simply not worth seeking out. The player may not know that these structures even exist, because much like trail ruins, they're buried underground. In fact, the trial chambers are to be completely concealed, so unlike the other two, you can't even just stumble upon it by exploration of the world. I feel like this will greatly hurt the impactfulness of 1.21 because the biggest feature is practically hidden. Unlike well-received updates to the game such as armor trims or an overhaul to an entire dimension, these features are not so visible to the player and don't really change the way we play. The discovery of something like the aforementioned structures, which claim to be the big features of their respective updates, are entirely arbitrary. It's how it is with many features of recent updates. Ironically, the mobs added that were voted in by the player are often the most forgettable parts of them. Allays are too finicky to handle, and Minecraft's terrible mob AI often makes them work against you, examples being flying into lava and dying, or losing track of the player. And much like Allays, sniffers are found in rare locations. Sniffers take ages to actually reach their fullest potential, and it's not really a worthwhile venture when that fullest potential is a cup of purely decorative flowers. The armadillo is also pretty forgettable because it was voted in entirely based on what it could add to a different mob, armor for your dogs. Dog armor is a decent feature that may actually make us stand up our dogs for once, but as I said before, Minecraft's mob AI most often works against you. Dog armor sort of just feels like a band-aid for this, so that you have a few more seconds of time to save your dog after they've just jumped into lava. A common feature of these updates that often feel less impactful are the single surface biomes they add. Mangrove swamp biomes are sort of just there. So are cherry grove biomes, but at least that was a feature that was highly requested over the past decade. Both of these biomes are pretty rare though, so as a result, they don't really impact your general experience of the game unless you want to obtain the blocks they offer or build there. I'll skim through a few updates in the past that contain examples of this type of low impact. 1.10, the Frostburn update. This update added like one new mob, two mob variants, and 4 blocks, so nothing groundbreaking, not exactly hype-worthy. 1.11, the Exploration Update. This update actually had some important features like observers which revolutionized redstone, shulker boxes, and the Totem of Undying, which although revolutionary, it was found with some other new enemies in a structure that usually generate thousands and thousands of blocks away from spawn, so it's quite the hike for the average player to even bother going to. You travel all the way to the Woodland Mansion that if you're a careful player is one of the only times in the game where you'd actually have needed the best loot it offers, being the Totem. 1.15, the Buzzy Bees update. To be fair, this update wasn't exactly meant to be feature heavy. The devs focused largely on bug fixing and performance improving. Bees were added on the side while a massive Nether update was promised to be in the next Minecraft Live show just months before, so people were generally okay with this. I could go on and on about every single feature of these updates, but I feel the point has been made. Lots of what was added weren't integral parts of the game's overall experience, so they are less noticeable when they're added and end up feeling like side content to an update that should be more meaningful. And when the entire update feels like side content, it's sort of disappointing. If you follow the snapshots, at some point Mojang announces, okay, that's all the new features for this update. And you feel like you're left wanting more, especially when it's not that much more than what was shown at Minecraft Live after they say they won't show off everything just yet. Previous updates that overhauled parts of the game like the oceans, villager trading, the nether dimension, overworld generation, and changed how we played made for more exciting updates. The way you play the game is not really impacted a whole lot as a result of the more recent Minecraft updates, so in the end, they just don't hit like they used to. Thank you all for watching this video. I really hope we get more exciting updates in the future of Minecraft. Personally, I really want an end update, but who knows when that'll happen. If you find me interesting at all, or want a chill Minecraft streamer to watch, you can find me on Twitch. I'll link my channel in the description in case you're interested. I'm really hoping I can grow this channel, so if you feel inclined, consider subscribing or watching any other videos I post in the future. Thanks, that's all.